Hey guys, I can think of a lot of different ways to show you why it's ineffective to just learn list of words. One of them is that memory just doesn't work like that. But today I'd like to give you one example of how I was teaching my students certain words, and you will see what would be a problem with doing it differently by just staring at a list. So my student and I were going over the topic of different buildings, construction, different famous buildings, tall buildings like the Empire State Building, Burj Khalifa, and stuff like that. And we had several lessons related to this. I'm gonna add pictures here so you can see. So we worked on her listening skills. We worked with some videos, and then after that, we went on to talk about some chunks or collocations.
So there are two terms we need to understand: chunks and collocations. The basic answer is that when two words are often used together, we call them collocations. For example, we say to work hard. We don't usually say to work difficultly, for example. We also say to make a difference, not to do a difference. Some expressions have more words, and so we don't usually refer to them as collocations. You can say, how are you? Or you can go with, how's it going? When I ask a person this question, I don't need to put together these words in the correct way in my mind. I don't need to think about all the grammar that goes into this expression. I just have this sentence ready in my head, and I'm ready to use it when I need it. So say I see a person that I want to strike a conversation with, and I go, how's it going? Or let me give you another example that you might be more familiar with.
Hey, how you doing?
What's the difference between the two? The main difference between chunks and collocations is that collocations are often used together without much grammar put into it. And chunks are groups of words that have some grammar as well. For you as a learner, this difference between chunks and collocations is largely irrelevant, as long as you know what to do with them to improve your English. So just to make it a little bit easier for you, I'm going to refer to all of them as chunks.
The book calls it collocations, but my student is very familiar with the difference between the two. And so we took a look at some chunks, some collocations. First, I gave her 6 different words, and I gave her 2 minutes to think of any chunks, any collocations with those words that she could. And so she came up only with 3. Highly recommended to achieve progress. And the third one was a mistake, actually. She said mistake, trouble. And I'm like, well, those are synonyms. Those are not really, that's not a collocation. And she agreed with me. Okay, after that, we went on to do this exercise. She managed to do it pretty well. She missed one, we went back to it. She made a mistake in a few mistakes in identifying parts of speech, which was fine. We figured out why that was and how we can fix it. And I explained to her things that she didn't realize or forgot. Like, for example, that adverbs describe other adjectives, and that an adjective can't be in a sentence without a pronoun or a noun to describe. Or, for example, with avoid trouble, she was like, avoid, it's a verb. Trouble, it's an adjective. And I'm like, an adjective describing what? She couldn't think of it. I was like, okay, give me some other chunks with avoid. So what else can you avoid? And she was like, avoid a mistake, avoid an accident, avoid, and I don't remember, a few more things. And I'm like, what is a mistake or an accident? She's like, a noun. And I'm like, what is trouble? She's like, a trouble. Then I pointed out a few important things like progress, to make real progress. We don't say real progress. Why? Because we use progress as an uncountable noun here. So this is not something she paid attention to on her own. Then I pointed out that trouble and terrible are 2 different words, because sometimes she says them in a very similar way and it's kind of hard to tell which one she's trying to say. So she says something like, trouble instead of terrible. Terrible.
She faced a lot of trouble things.
Trouble?
With
Hold on. Trouble or terrible?
Terrible things.
Ah!
With my aunties.
So we practice the pronunciation of trouble and terrible. Terrible. So it's not like terrible. Terrible. To make sure she's clear on it, she can hear the difference, she can say it properly. So we did that. And now, so far, imagine all of this is just for 6 different phrases. So what kind of things would she not be able to do? She wouldn't be able to use these correctly in a sentence if she's not, well, some of the time, if she doesn't understand how they work, what parts of speech these are. She would mispronounce some of these. She would, what else? She might add A to real progress because she didn't realize that it was uncountable. So far, those are some of the things. Now, I'm recording this video during the break. In the next lesson, in 5 minutes, she and I are going to go over some different ways we could use these chunks. So first, I started by saying, okay, so what can be widely recognized? And she made a mistake. She was like, he widely recognized mental health. And I'm like, what does that mean though? Recognized, look, we decided it's an adjective. So she used it incorrectly. Even though now she has that information, she understands the meaning, she still cannot use it properly. Now imagine you're staring at a list of words. How are you going to figure any of this out? You're not going to. And that's a problem. So with her, we're going to go over all these different chunks and think what we can use them to describe. So that will give her an understanding of what contexts it's okay to use them. We will figure out, are they formal or informal? Is there anything else we need to be aware of? Are there any ways we can change them that they're still correct? Like, for example, think differently. Can we say think similarly? So we're going to go over those things. Then we're going to move on to a couple more exercises. We're going to use these chunks in speaking.
So, what can be widely recognized? See, in our example, the Manhattan skyline can be widely recognized. What else?
Widely recognized. Okay, it's widely recognized that healthy lifestyle, such as exercise, eating health, is a benefit of being well. Let's say it's benefit to be well-being.
It's beneficial for your well-being.
Beneficial to well-being.
Why don't we write down that chunk as well? To be beneficial for something or someone.
To be someone or something. To be beneficial for something or someone. Something or someone.
So yes, it is widely recognized that a healthy lifestyle. Could you say the whole thing again? But don't read it.
Okay.
Don't look at your notes.
Okay. It's widely recognized that healthy lifestyle, like such as exercise, eating healthy, eating healthy is beneficial for being for well-being.
Yeah, for your well-being usually, for someone.
Okay.
Excellent. Excellent. So see, here we can look at it as a chunk. It is widely recognized that.
Yeah, okay.
So pretty helpful. What if we wanted to put widely recognized in the at the end of a sentence? Like blah 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 is widely recognized. What can we say? So here more about physically, like your ability to see it.
The line
I was thinking
is
the same
what?
thing. Right. Yeah, it's super futuristic.
Yeah.
People know it. Excellent.
At home, her job is going to be to add these chunks, these collocations, to her chunks board. I'm going to show you what that looks like. And what does this mean? This means that she's going to put those chunks there, and she's going to make some examples. The next class, we're going to check those examples together. That's going to be a learning opportunity. So it's going to be practice for her at home, but also if she makes any mistakes, I'm going to comment on them and we're going to figure that out. Or if she uses them properly, I'm going to give her feedback. Without that feedback, she wouldn't really know that she did a good job. And that's why sometimes people, when they speak, they're not confident. They're like, oh, is this right? And so if you're not confident, if you're not sure that you're saying something correctly, you're going to be less likely to say it. You're going to be more likely to be not confident and stressed about what you're saying. But she is not going to be, because she will have practiced so much that she will know she's saying it correctly in a lot of situations. Again, it's not magic, not everywhere, not always, but she's going to be in a much better place when she gets to use these expressions in real life. And if you're just staring at a list of phrases, at a list of words, you're not gonna get any of this. And then this is still not the end. So we're gonna do those different things that I've just mentioned. We're gonna check her examples for the chunks, and then I'm gonna come up with an opportunity for her to practice them further. I'm going to incorporate these chunks into our next lessons when we're gonna be practicing some other skills. I'm gonna create an opportunity for her to practice them in speaking and in writing, or sometimes, well, I always try to do both, but I prioritize speaking because she's already she's improved her writing so much over the last 2 years that I've been teaching her. Anyways, I really hope that this makes sense and you see that there is a lot that needs to happen for a person to really understand what a phrase means and how to use it in a sentence. And I hope that you're going to abandon a bad habit of just staring at lists of words, which just doesn't work. I've tried to show you this from the perspective of what could go wrong, but there's a whole other side to this discussion, and that is that our memory just does not work like this. If you look at something once and it's easy, like reading, you do not create the long-term memory that you need for this to become part of your passive vocabulary, and then over time through practice and exposure and challenges. And it's not just like the cliche bullshit like you need to challenge yourself. No, your memory literally is not going to work the way you need it to work to create that long-term memory if you don't challenge it. Literally, that's just how it works. But that's something for a future video. I hope this was a good example. I hope this makes sense. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below. And I'll see ya.